Hi, thanks for looking at this video. At Plymouth University, we work hard to prepare our nursing students so that they become caring, compassionate, well-informed and competent nurses when they qualify. But actually we can do more than that. We have a large group of people who are enthusiastic and can actually have a good impact now while they are students on the community. And at the same time, our students can learn from members of the community and reinforce that caring and compassionate attitude and their understanding of what it is to be a patient. The PPG initiative was a great success and it put Plymouth at the forefront of wider patient engagement, but it did not scale up. Kim Young put a huge amount of effort into running that, and we can continue to build upon that work, but not in exactly the same format. We need to reconfigure the idea. We cannot try to place 500 students with PPGs. It just won't work. Some students may wish to continue with this as an option, maybe through some special study unit, but I would warn that special study units can be very labour intensive, and I'm not at all convinced that we should offer them. On the other hand, we have a really good relationship now with PPGs across Devon and Cornwall through the Patients Association. We can continue to build upon that, and this can be one of the routes in which we can recruit citizen contacts, but more importantly we can refer our citizen contacts back to the PPGs. So I'd like to just tell you about what we did with Plymouth SeniorNet. This was a project where we got volunteers to help older people use the internet, and it was a research project we completed a year or two ago now, and we recruited people age 50 plus to help those age 65 plus to start using the internet, and the outcomes included reduced loneliness and mental well-being, and we recruited 144 beneficiaries, and going online did seem to be a benefit to them in their mental well-being. Of course, we're not trying to get our students to help people get online. I think we have to work with people who are already online. But actually, if you look at the ONS statistics shown on this slide here, you'll see that the numbers going online is increasing all the time, and including quite a lot of older people. Nevertheless, they don't necessarily know all that there is to do once you are online. So we're looking at that part of the distribution which is online but can use the online environment better. Now, as you know, we of course have digital professionalism for all our first year nurses in NRS 403, and our students learn what it is they shouldn't do online. Many nursing schools stop there. They think that just telling our students to stay away from social media is the approach, but that's not what we've done at Plymouth University. As you know, we've shown our students how they can make good use of social media. We've also shown them how to use webinars, discussion forums, telling them about how to judge a good quality website, showing them how they can access their own GP websites or how they could explain that to patients. They've had contact with patient opinion, and they know how patients can feedback online through these websites. And this year we're also going to start getting them to think more about how to use video calls. So this is just showing that the impact of digital professionalism has been really good for Plymouth University. So this proposal builds on all of this, and what we're wanting is for our students to have contact with volunteer citizens, so they learn from these citizens about what it is to live with a long-term physical condition, and to show them how to make better use of the internet. So the proposal is that we recruit volunteers from the community that 2 students meet with volunteers either at home or in an agreed public place, and each meeting will take 90 minutes, corresponding to 20 minutes to get to know each other and to remind the citizen volunteers about the expectations of the meeting, 30 minutes to hear the volunteer's story, 30 minutes to show them how to use things on the internet, and then 10 minutes to wind up and to remind them of the scope of what comes next. The students would meet the volunteer twice, initial meeting, and then again 5 months later. So the benefits to the students are that they get to hear the patient's story. That helps reinforce empathy and understanding and feelings of worth of helping a citizen. The citizens get to feel the worth of contributing to nurse education, that contact where they meet a younger person probably, and they get empowerment in using the internet. Evaluate this through the OARs, so students will write a reflective piece to go in the OARs, and the citizens will evaluate it by getting a before and after evaluation, probably using 4 questions from the ONS survey. So of course people will tend to think of the reasons why we shouldn't do it, the yes buts, and we've had, as you know, quite a lot of discussion with various stakeholders, in particular with the July the 14th conference, and a number of issues were raised, one of which was student security. And I think we can deal with this by first of all recruiting properly, recruiting people with physical long-term conditions, restricting this to adult nursing and probably not including, at least at this initial stage, mental health or child nursing. We already had the idea that it will be 2 students visiting, so they do have that security. We will have clear guidelines, and these draft of these are already written. We will have student logging of visits, and we can have an app where students log into the app and tell the app when they're leaving, when they're starting to visit the student, and they could have an alarm would go to other members of the student team if the students were not reporting back in time, and all student contacts with the volunteers will be via the website, so that there's no giving away of student email addresses. There was also some concerns about the scope of the student contact and the students not understanding their role. I think you will see now that the role that we're proposing is highly specified and that students will have guidelines. And finally, of course, the big one, which is how to implement this in the curriculum. And this probably is still up for discussion, and that's where we would need to go next. I think that to make this work, we need to have at least 4 citizens per student. That means 30 hours in total over a year. The second year, I think, is the best year to put this in, and that's, I'm hoping that we can pilot this with the second years in the February-March cohort, because it's a nice, convenient group, but of a sufficient size to pilot it, of about 80 students. We need to see where that can fit in the curriculum, but I think it's 30 hours that's well spent. It's contributing to the wider patient engagement, it contributes to public health, it contributes to communication skills, to long-term conditions and digital professionalism. And I think we should be able to find that time somewhere in the curriculum.